main speaker today is the manager of digital and youth organizing at Abortion Action Missouri. However, she started her organizing career in 2015 on the University of Missouri-Columbia campus, where she graduated with degrees in communications and Black studies. She also has a master's of public policy administration from the University of Missouri-St. Louis. In addition to her role at Abortion Action Missouri, she is helping to lead the Missourians for Constitutional Freedom campaign as the field manager for statewide signature collection. Please join me in welcoming Kennedy Moore.
Thank you so much for inviting me to speak today. It is really great to be in this space with you all and share this space. So to get started, my presentation, my talk will be kind of half and half. The first part, I'll talk a little bit about my background, how I got to have a career in organizing and activism, and then I will talk a little bit about the Missourians for Constitutional Freedom campaign that is currently going on in our state. So, as was stated, my name is Kennedy Moore. I am originally from Chicago, Illinois, and so I was not born in the state of Missouri, and I'll later get to how I got here, but born in Chicago on the south side of Chicago. Activism and organizing has always been in my blood. My grandmother on my mother's side was a frequent attendee of the Rainbow Push Coalition, which was founded by the Reverend Dr. Jesse Jackson, friend of Martin Luther King Jr. And then on my father's side, my grandfather, which I never got a chance to meet, he always attended and was a member of UAW, as well as he got an opportunity to march with Dr. King as well. So, as I stated, organizing is just in my blood. So how did I get to Missouri? So in 2014, I graduated high school and I received basically a scholarship to attend the University of Missouri, Columbia, which a lot of people know as Mizzou. After I moved to Columbia, and probably for the first year, I was a communications major and later on added Black Studies as a double major to my course of study. So just for a raise of hands real quick, if I can get, who is familiar with what happened at Mizzou in 2015 or Concerned Student 1950? Okay. So if you aren't familiar, Concerned Student 1950 was a student movement where the Mizzou community was inspired by what was going on in Ferguson, 2 hours east, and the incidents on campus that marginalized students were facing, specifically with racial tensions, and that they still are facing today. It's called Concerned Student. The movement was called Concerned Student 1950. One, because students were concerned about the campus environment and campus safety, as well as 1950, 1950 was the first year that a Black student was allowed to attend Mizzou, and that wasn't that long ago. system administrators, specifically Tim Wolf, were silent about all the racial tensions, all just the back and forth between students, and this is really what ignited the movement that happened in the fall of 2015. So what happened was our student collective organized demonstrations, they organized sit-ins, marches, and even camped out on the quad, on Carnahan Quad at Mizzou, to get the attention of the administration and as well as Tim Wolf, the president. And so this, in collaboration with the Mizzou football team, they decided to go on strike and not play in an upcoming football game. And this caused the president, Tim Wolf, to finally decide, hey, I need to probably step down, where it's getting to the point where football and especially money and capitalism and all those things are involved. So, skipping a little bit forward to what came after Concerned Student. So as a result of Concerned Student, citizenship at Mizzou a program was created. And so this was a mandatory diversity training that was created by the amazing Dr. Stephanie Shanakan, who is a mentor of mine. And it was implemented by the Division of Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity that basically made all incoming freshmen come into like an auditorium like this, sit and have a conversation about what it means to be a citizen on Mizzou's campus. That's why it's called Citizenship at Mizzou. And so this training, it wasn't just, a boring diversity training where somebody's talking at you. It was an opportunity where where students could converse back with the people presenting, and it also held a musical component. And so the musical component was where I came in, as well as the band Talking Drum. Talking Drum was a band that was formed specifically for this program, and we basically had the opportunity to connect, as I said before, what it means to be a good citizen at Mizzou, what it means to be respectful, and engage people in your community in a respectful way, as well as combining in some music. As we heard music earlier this morning, and music is a very integral part of my life and who I am. And so it gave me the opportunity to use my talent as a singer, as a musician, and further help plant the seed, of really what it means to facilitate healthy relationships on campus. And so some of the songs that we sang were Bob Dylan, Blowing in the Wind, John Lennon, Imagine, Marvin Gaye, What's Going On, Black Eyed Peas, Where's the Love, and having conversations about what do these songs mean and what do they mean to me as a person, what does it mean to us as a community as a whole. So following my time at Mizzou, I graduated in 2018, and I moved to St. Louis. That is my kind of arc, so from Chicago to Columbia, Missouri, to St. Louis, where I stand today. I moved to St. Louis in 2018 to pursue a career in public relations, and in 2020, I applied to be a fellow with Action St. Louis for the Black Organizing Summer School. And so if you aren't familiar, Action St. Louis is an organization that was birthed from the organizers involved in the Ferguson Uprising in 2014. And so this fellowship was a gift for me because it gave me the tools. I already had this, very political mindset and activist mindset of wanting to make change in my community, wanting to see change for other people in my life and abroad. And it gave me the tools to understand how to put that political knowledge to use and to use it in an organized way to make change. And so part of the fellowship, it was to pair you with an organization that Action St. Louis partnered with. And I got the opportunity to intern with ACLU Missouri. And while I was an intern, I got to work on legislation in opposition to spy planes, as well as in support of surveillance oversight for the city of St. Louis. And fun fact, which everything, it seems to come full circle when it comes to organizing for me. This past week, Board Bill 185, which I believe it was formerly Board Bill 95 when I was working on it as an intern in 2021, Board Bill 185, which was is oversight legislation for the city of St. Louis, is finally proceeding to the entire Board of Aldermen soon for a vote. And it blows my mind that, change kind of takes time sometimes, and it sucks, but when you keep working at it, you will see the fruits of your labor kind of manifest in the end. So, coming to the present, in 2021, following that fellowship and the work that I did with surveillance legislation, I also worked on working to decriminalize sex work in the state of Missouri with MoHo Justice, which is another organization that partnered formerly with ACLU Missouri. I was hired on as an organizer with NARAL Pro-Choice Missouri, which that's not the organization I was introduced as, but when I first came on as an organizer, we were known as under what was formerly known as NARAL Pro-Choice Missouri. We are now called Abortion Action Missouri and separate from the national organization, and we are also the organization that is leading the fight with the Missourians for Constitutional Freedom campaign. So now, with all of that being said, I now serve as the field manager for the campaign. So if any folks I know people have been trained already in collecting signatures, and so if you have any signatures to turn in on Thursdays, me as well as our amazing team for the campaign will be the people that make sure that every voter signature that you have and that you turn in counts towards this initiative petition process. I also get the chance to work with students, high school students, and organize them to be empowered enough to take action and improve their sexual education in their schools. A lot of schools in the state in St. Louis are not receiving comprehensive, adequate sex education, and students don't know about their bodies. And so helping them to go out and talk amongst their peers and have these conversations, sometimes hard conversations, about what we need when it comes to our sex ed. And then additionally, I'm really a tech nerd at heart, and I get to use digital tools to help organize our base at Abortion Action Missouri to take action for pro-abortion, pro-choice causes. And so I am really just grateful for my organizing arc and my story, which is not yet over. I now own a home in Ferguson, which was one of the many places that inspired me back in 2014, 2015 to take action, to become an organizer. And some of the people now, once again, thinking about things coming really full circle, some of the people that I met at Mizzou and in St. Louis are now part of this movement that we are building across the state to rebuild abortion access and to overturn the cruel Missouri ban on abortion. And so none of these people are here, but to shout them out: Ivania Woods, Vicki Boyd Kennedy, Andrew Hutchinson in Columbia, as well as Tori Schaefer in St. Louis with ACLU, are some of the people that I got a chance to meet at Mizzou, and we are now in collaboration working towards rebuilding abortion access and overturning this ban for this campaign. Not to mention Action St. Louis, the organization that kind of gave me the tools and resources to be where I am today, has just transitioned their paid team from gathering signatures for Healthy Families, which was an initiative to collect signatures to get $15 an hour minimum wage and paid sick leave on the ballot. So they're transitioning their team, and I got a chance to train them a couple weeks ago on how to collect signatures for Missourians for our constitutional freedom. And so I say all of this to remind folks out there, it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter where you come from, if you were born in Missouri, if you weren't born in Missouri, if you weren't born in the United States, it doesn't matter what you look like, what your gender, what your sexuality is. None of that matters, because you can build power, you can make change when you put your mind to it. And that is the importance of what I heard earlier, what Dan was speaking about, is community. Community is so important, and we cannot make change without community. You're powerful no matter what people in power try and tell you, because I like to think of not all the people in power, but a lot of people in power are simply just bullies and trying to take our power away from us, or even the conceptualization that we can have power. And so as I end this part, just a reminder that this is my personal organizing story, and now I want to segue into the Missourians for Constitutional Freedom campaign and give you all more information about that. All right, so in January, I remember my boss, Mallory Schwartz, the executive director of Abortion Action Missouri, telling me, we're doing it, we're collecting signatures, we are getting this on the ballot to end the total ban on abortion and put families and not politicians back in charge of our personal medical decisions. So how many folks in here believe, and you can just raise your hand, that we should trust patients and their doctors to decide what is right for them in their unique situation? That's like every hand. How many folks also believe that politicians should not come between the decisions of patients and their doctors. That's every hand. That's what this campaign is about. This grassroots effort is led by Missourians, and it will be a victory for Missourians. Their right to vote for reproductive freedom, despite power-hungry politicians' attempt to deny those that they serve their constitutional right through the initiative petition process. Passing this amendment will end the state's abortion ban, and it'll make sure that Missourians and their families can once again make the decisions that are best for them. Decisions around pregnancy that include abortion, birth control, miscarriage care are personal and private and should be left up to patients and their families. But here in Missouri, our government is making that decision for us because they've already banned abortion back in 2019. As I mentioned before, this grassroots effort is led by Missourians, and it shows what we've known all along. And I even want to point to those two questions that I just asked you all. And basically everybody in the room raised their hand, that Missourians want the freedom to make their own decisions for themselves and their families without political interference. Missourians want the freedom to make their own decisions for themselves and their families. And even in spite of this existing law, Missourians overwhelmingly oppose bans on abortion. And this is our opportunity to vote for reproductive freedom. Patients with heartbreaking pregnancy complications are being turned away or having their care delayed because their doctors are afraid of prosecution. And as I mentioned before, in 2019, politicians here in this state of Missouri passed one of the most restrictive abortion bans in the country. And it prevented doctors from acting on a patient until the brink of death. Patients are forced to leave Missouri to get the care that they need, while others are forced to carry pregnancies against their will, even when their health is at risk. And no one should have to ever sit and let their health deteriorate or need to flee the state to get care for themselves or a loved one. Politicians in Jeff City are really out of touch with voters. And what this initiative does, it gives Missourians the opportunity to directly vote on reproductive freedom, including access to abortion, miscarriage care, birth control, and respectful birthing conditions. If we don't succeed, anti-abortion politicians will be able to control the futures of our families and put doctors in jail for providing the health care that they know their patients need. Missourians are being denied health care, risking their lives and their financial security to travel across state lines. And this amendment is our chance to end the government's cruel ban and its devastating effects. This is an opportunity to put power back into the hands of the people, like you and me, because Missourians deserve every opportunity to make their voices heard. Missourians are uniquely prepared for this effort, and we've done this before. We've done it with Medicaid. We're currently finishing up doing it with Healthy Families to get minimum wage on the ballot, and we've done it election cycle after election cycle, and we know what to expect from our opposition. And so what we have to do is we have to collect 170,000 valid signatures by May 5th to get this initiative on either the August or the November ballot. This is really about who makes personal decisions for yourself and your family, you or the government. We should trust patients and their doctors to decide what's right for their situation and not these politicians. Every week, Missourians are being denied abortions and forced to continue life-threatening pregnancies against their will, risking their health and lives as a result. Patients with miscarriages are being turned away from emergency rooms, and doctors are often forced to wait for patients' conditions to get worse before they can even provide care to these patients. Families in our state are suffering, and now is the time to end this cruel ban. Politicians have forced themselves into our doctors' offices, our relationships, our families, and our decision making. And my question is, when is it gonna stop? And it stops with ending this ban. This is our chance. This is our chance to take back our privacy. This is our chance to take back our say, our rights over our body. So with all of that being said, I want to plug you all in, and there's opportunities to be involved with this campaign. Even thinking about, we wanted to start collecting signatures last year. We couldn't start collecting signatures until the first week of February. And the Secretary of State, as well as the Attorney General, they put every blockade that they could in front of this campaign for us to not be out here doing what we're doing now, collecting signatures to get this initiative on the ballot. And so with that being said, we have about, I'd say, 41 or 40 days left until all these signatures have to be to the Secretary of State's office. And can I get a raise of hands of who was trained this morning to collect signatures? That is amazing. That is amazing. So already with this campaign, through the campaign as well as our partner organizations, we have trained thousands of people to collect signatures. I want to shout out Wendell Rubenstein, who's out there, who I'm pretty sure conducted that training this morning, and very grateful for our partners like Planned Parenthood of the Southwest region in St. Louis that do the work as well to push forward our state when it comes to reproductive freedom. If you still need to be trained and are looking for ways to be trained, or maybe you have people in your friend network, your family members, whoever, if you still are interested in that, you can go to the website up here, which is mobilize.us/MFCF. And there are trainings typically in the St. Louis region. We're kind of winding down a little bit and going towards more of like one training a week. There was one point where we had about 3 trainings a week. And if you're interested and still want to be trained, you can do that at that website right there. Weekly training, or weekly opportunities, are also gonna be posted on that website as well. So if you are already trained, either have been today or have been in previous weeks, and you want opportunities to meet other people that are for this same goal, for this same initiative, petition, an issue, you can feel free to go to that website, and every day we're hopefully posting opportunities. We have, I think, some opportunities, I'm not sure if it's still open on the website, but to go to Hidden Gems. We've previously, last weekend, we did the St. Patrick's Day Parade, both downtown and in Dogtown. And so the level of community and being able, sometimes it's kind of difficult or maybe overwhelming or intimidating to be trained and go out and gather signatures at your local farmer's market or a store. And so these are opportunities where people can collectively come and take advantage of them. So with that all being said, I'm going to end my portion right here and hand it back to the Ethical Society. But if you have any additional questions for me, then feel free. I will be downstairs after this, and you can come to me and we can have a chat. So thank you so much for this time. And
Thank you so much, Kennedy. Am I on? There we go. By the way, if there are signature collectors here in the audience today, would you mind standing up so that those wishing to learn more about the petition and or sign the petition can find you later? Thank you. The Welcome Team will now take up a collection to support the Society. We rely on the generosity of members and friends to ensure that we can keep providing our many free programs. If you don't have cash with you today, you can donate at ethicalstl.org/donate, or use the QR code on the screen. Well done, Claire. If you're interested in joining the Ethical Society and becoming a pledging member, or if you are a new visitor and would like to know more about the Society, Membership Coordinator Courtney Scott Camarada will be available afterwards to answer your questions. She and other volunteer members can be found at the Visitors Connect table downstairs in the Becker Room. We have a few announcements today. Just a reminder that today from 3 to 4:30 here in the auditorium, there's a celebration of life for Jim Jordan's son, Aiden. So it would be great if you have the time to attend. Tomorrow, pledge form return, March 25th. So if you haven't already turned in your pledge form, would you please do that? Thank you for all the members who have pledged for upcoming fiscal year. We use those results of the pledge campaign when planning the Society's budget. Now, perhaps you're wondering why pledge forms are due in March, but the budget isn't voted on until May 16th at the annual meeting. The board, finance committee, and ministry team must review and compare the budget with the pledged amounts and then reconcile any differences. When the difference is substantial, the process just requires some time to reconcile those two numbers. Tuesday, March 26th, that's this Tuesday, a many benefit concert for the Missouri Abortion Fund. Join us this Tuesday evening at 6:30 as our interim director, Amy Miller, and St. Louis legend Michael Scherer have agreed to take the stage right here in the auditorium for a mini benefit concert for the Missouri Abortion Fund. If you've not yet heard Amy and Michael perform together, you are in for an extraordinary treat. They have been performing together for nearly 2 decades and have mastered the art of two-part harmony. Their repertoire runs the gamut of anything that can be reasonably covered by an acoustic guitar. I personally have enjoyed several of these mini concerts. They're fun, informal, and interactive, meaning that song requests from the audiences are encouraged along with the musical banter between Amy and Michael. Please consider joining us and supporting this great this cause. There's no charge. All are welcome, and all donations go directly to the Missouri Abortion Fund, which provides financial assistance for Missouri residents who cannot afford the full cost of abortion care. And just couple future events. Sunday, April 1st will be our first Sunday lunch. Consider making plans to stay for that. I'm sure there'll be another announcement next week as it grows closer. And finally, Sunday, April 14th, heads up, Visitors Sunday. The second Sunday of each month is Visitors Sunday, where you're welcome to join the interim director and other staff members for donuts, to ask questions and explore the nature of the Ethical Society. Next one is April 14th, so this event occurs in the Hankey Room immediately after platform. Also, if you are a new member and you're unable to attend any previous Visitors Sundays, you are invited to join in as well. We would love to keep you informed about future events at the Ethical Society of St. Louis. You can use the QR code to sign up for weekly newsletters, check the Friends of the Ethical Society Facebook group, or email relevant staff person or member. This is a vibrant place, and I hope you will find a way to get involved and connected to the community in ways that feel good for you. It's now time for our third and final musical selection. Again, there are 2 pieces here.